my previous Week in the Life albums, and I'm going to be sharing my Week in the Life 2019. I just want to start by saying that I loved this Pink Linen album. It's by far my favorite Week in the Life album. I ordered 2 of them. So I actually ordered it and then I went and ordered a second one so that I could use it for one of our travel projects. It's just a favorite of mine. The color is gorgeous. The texture is gorgeous. It's awesome. So another thing that I want to point out about 2019 is that I did not purchase a kit from Ali Edwards. I created my own kit from my stash. So I usually call that a stash kit. And I just went through and picked out cards that sort of fit the theme of Week in the Life, that have been likely in my stash for a really long time, and put them all together and sort of used that. The only things that I bought this year were the album, I think maybe some word phrase stickers, and a couple of the new style of page protectors that Ali released with Week in the Life last year. So let's dive in. Starting with a 4x6 card from the Type Story kit that says Life Stories, which was perfect starter for this, and finishing it or wrapping it up with a this is from either the Details Story kit, or I think it's from the Details Story kit a long time ago. And then I printed this Week in the Life like branding piece from, it's something I had in a kit, digital, and so I just printed that out. I always start with a photo of my family together. So this year I did a 4x6 instead of a full 6x8. And on the bottom, this is one of those new page protectors. So it's a 4x6 on the top and then 2x2s on the bottom. And so in the bottom, I just did some embellishments, including the year and the dates of the project. And then on the back, I had this card that had a list of 10 spaces from a previous day in the life kit. And so I stamped out the reason why from one of my story stamps and then wrote 10 reasons why I do this project or enjoy this project. Started with a transparency. This is something that was included as an add-on to one of the story kit subscriptions, I think, and embellished with some stickers. These are puffy stickers from the Lost and Found story kit. And then this is a the perforated word phrase strips from the Week in the Life 2017 kit. And I still have a few of those left. For my next page, like sort of my opening page, I included a calendar. So this is just our calendar from iCal, and sort of my calendar, my husband's calendar, and our family calendar, and then like holidays. And this is an interesting snapshot. I got this idea from Ali Edwards. She included this in her album last year. And I loved that. And I'm so glad I did it because my husband and I last year worked at the same place. And so a lot of our meetings overlapped, and we don't anymore. We do not. We got let go shortly after this project happened last year from those jobs. And so our life is completely different. And so that's a fun, it was not a fun experience. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of the reasons I love Week in the Life, is because you don't ever know when your life is going to change. We couldn't have predicted that our lives would be completely different this year than they were last year. We also couldn't have predicted that we'd be living in the middle of a global pandemic this year. And so this lens is going to have this year is going to have a totally different lens than any other year anyway. That was a lot to say about a calendar, but I backed it with a piece of Felicity Jane paper and then a 6x8 or full size photo on the back. One of my favorites of the 3 of us from the week. Again, all embellishments are from my stash. Mostly they're Ali Edwards products. Then we start to get into the daily formula. So my formula is the same for every day, or roughly the same. And what I did this year is I wanted to include a sort of page divider, and I didn't do it very well because they're not bigger than my pages, which I wish they were, but that's okay. And so I stamped out using I have these sets of stamps from Ellie's Studio, and I'll link to their shop below so you can find these. But they're called the Large Jane Alphas, and this is the outline, the solid, then they have them in numbers, then they have a polka dot, and a striped, and numbers to go with that as well. They have more of these as well, they have some stars and things like that. So I used the stripe ones because I like the font and the style of that to stamp out the day of the week along the far outer edge of each of my transparencies. And then you couldn't really see it very well up against my photos, so I backed it with a piece of plain vellum to give it a little bit more opaqueness against my photos. Then each day has a full-size 6x8 photo. Generally, it's not embellished, and then it's backed with journaling on the back. For this shot, I just used I have a small tripod, like a pocket tripod for my camera, or for my phone. My phone is 100% what I use for this project and all of my projects. And so I just carry that around with me all week and use it to set up shots like this. So I went up ahead and sort of set up my tripod and the self timer. And actually I just used I triggered the shutter from my watch, my Apple Watch. And so that's really super convenient for anybody that has an iPhone and an Apple Watch. You can pair those together and use this as your, it's not called the shutter, whatever, to take your photos. And so then just instructed like my husband and the dog, like, okay, now walk. And we walked together toward the camera. And I had a few shots like this and just picked my favorite. For each day's journaling, it's printed on plain cardstock, and then I use the Ali Edwards, there's a small alpha stamp that came with the Type Story kit, or was an add-on for that. That's one of my favorites. That and the Jane Alphas are my go-to stamp sets for alphabets. And for each day, I had a different story lens that I used. So Monday's story lens was around here. So it's around here, I set at least 3 alarms to wake up in the morning. Around here, I like to start my day with yoga. And so I just use that prompt throughout the day. 6x8 full-size photo on the back, using these day of the week plastic shapes. They were from a kit. I don't even know what kit. They're so old. Then 4 4x6s, 2 front and back. Today's details page, this was a paper pad. I still have some of this left. I'm going to be using this again this year, I think. And this is just time journaling. So I just handwrite this. I may type it this year. We'll see. Because my handwriting is so messy and hard to read. But I like having my handwriting in there too. And then for each day, I used an LA Studio stamp set to type out or stamp out the day of the week. And then backed it with a 3x8 size photo. Also included gratitude every day. This card falls in different places throughout the album for each day. Then another full-size 6x8 photo, this time in a pocket, and actually it's 2. I love the full-size photos. That's one thing that I come back to every year, and I just really love the big photos. It makes it feel special, right? This is a totally everyday moment of us just taking an afternoon walk with our dog and happening to be a gorgeous day in downtown Baltimore. And I just love it. I love highlighting that. These Cork days of the week, or days of the week abbreviations, there was something similar that came in last year's Week in the Life kit, but I didn't buy the kit, and I wasn't going to buy the kit just for these. And then I remembered that I had these days of the week die cuts from Ali that I just bought some cork sheets. These were self-adhesive, so they had a sticker sheet on the back. Full-size sheets, like 8.5 by 11 sheets from Amazon. And I just ran them through my Big Shot and die cut them out, and they worked perfect. Another 6x8 photo, and then I had these chipboard that I think were from like a summer release, maybe in 2017, 2016, something like that. For each day, I made a what we're eating tag. So I just cut a tag shape and then stamped out the word eat, morning, noon, and night from the Eat Story kit, and then typed in what we were eating. And then on the back is usually a photo of that meal, or of one of those meals. Then I did a 3x4 pocket with keeping one of those pages, or one of those pockets empty or transparent, using the these plastic numbers that were from, I don't know, from some kit. That's not very helpful. Some of the days include a little bit more information about a meal, and then just photos and journaling cards on the back. And then what's special that I really love that I did this year as a way to include my husband's perspective and voice in our actual Week in the Life album, which is something I'm doing again this year in a different way, is these were new page protectors. They're 2 3x8s sort of stitched together as a 6x8. And so each day I had a different theme or topic, a different topic. So this was style. And I have a photo of like my husband's style preferences, my style preferences, and then we each did our own handwritten journaling about that. And so first of all, I love that my husband took selfies every day this week, because I think that's hilarious. And he was trying to like mock me, but also knowing that I would want, that I would want photos, a lot of photos for Week in the Life. And so that was one of his contributions, but also that he was willing to add his handwriting. He hates his handwriting. He's a computer guy. He would rather type everything. And I had said, would you please use your handwriting? Because I want to have that as part of our memory keeping. And so he did this for every day of the week, which I'm super grateful for. And now we're talking about ways that he can participate this year in a sort of really direct way. So on to Tuesday, you can see, so my formula for each day is at least, it's a divider and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages plus a couple inserts, the tag and maybe something else. That's too much. I have taken, this album is I can't fit any more in here. And I love the amount of documenting that I did for this week, but it's too much. I want to do a little bit less this year. And so I'm really trying to be conscious of that as I go into documenting and as I then start to put my album together after next week. So on to Tuesday, full-size photo. I loved this. I set my phone up. Our bathroom doors are right here, sort of a few feet away from the end of our bed. And so I just sat my camera or my phone up on the doorknob and again used my watch. You can't really see it, but I'm wearing my watch in this picture. I've creatively hidden it behind some blankets to trigger the shutter and take the photo. And this would be great if I wanted to do some digital journaling on my photos. I've got plenty of white space up here, or do some digital word art or some sort of embellishment. Tuesday's journaling was a little bit shorter, so I included a 4x6 photo there. And then my theme or my story lens for Tuesday was savoring. And this was inspired by one of Allie's days of journaling during a Week in the Life. I'm not even sure which one, but a previous year's Week in the Life. And I liked that story lens of savoring, something a little bit different. Full 6x8, 4x6. This card is from the Type Story Kit, and so I just wrote a little bit about 4 little mini stories. Pictures of us all at work. My evening water aerobics class. Another Today's Detail, 3x8 on the back. For this photo, I have one of my mini tripods. I have a couple. One of them is called a Gorilla Pod, and it has like bendable legs, so you can like wrap it around things. So I wrapped it around our chandelier above our dining room table, and then just took this shot down, which is fun. Something a little different. Doing some service animal, some task training. She doesn't like the ice machines at Five Guys, and so we were doing some orienting to that while we were at dinner. Our eat tag for the day and our burgers. Here I did a little flip up to include a little bit more of that story. Cut my gratitude into a tag today and just did list style. This is a 3x8 insert, an extra insert, so this is gonna have 8 pages. And I did this as these are 2x3 photos that I printed and then added to a piece of white cardstock as a journaling card, and just did some journaling, and then stamped out the story of today on there, just to give some extra insight into some of those stories. Here I've got an acetate heart that I just stapled to the outside of the page protector. And this is a picture that I took. I printed it 6x8 and then just cut it in half, because the journaling is about our spots in the living room, and sort of where we prefer to sit to watch TV or hang out. On to Wednesday. Take photos all the time. That's my big tip for Week in the Life, is take all the photos. Be more selective than I have been in including them all. That's my second tip. But this is a photo I would never take on a normal, there's nothing special about the garage that we park in every day, except we no longer park in this garage because we no longer work at the same place. And so capturing that and sort of what this was like every day, and just, it just brings back those memories. And so it is significant in its insignificance, I guess. I don't know. Wednesday's journaling story lens was I want to remember. So really thinking about what are the things of our lives right now that I want to remember right now. And they're all sorts of things, from like things that happened. Like, I want to remember how pleasant it is to hang out with friends. We had a great time at dinner tonight. I want to remember the way Ruby lays across the back of the love seat like she's a tiny cat. It's way too funny and very cute. And then I have a picture of that because my journaling was shorter. But also things like I want to remember to take care of myself. So giving myself a story lens every day really helps me to just be creative in the types of stories that I'm telling, and to look at my life from different angles and points of view. And I really enjoy that. So that's definitely something I will continue to do each year. 6x8 photo. One of the things that I really liked and was inspired from some of Allie's photos are like looking from one place into other places, like through the doors and through doorways. And so I set my tripod up in the hallway and sort of took this photo of us all getting ready in the morning. And I like that. So looking through, as you're looking through other people's albums and thinking about inspiration, think about the kinds of shots that you want to get. And then I just kind of make a list of those and try to watch for those opportunities throughout the week, or create them, like this one. A 3x8 insert that has the 2x3 at the top and the 3x6. This is that story. This was a phone pad. It's just paper sheets that look like a phone that was from the tech story kit, and they fit perfect in the 3x6 portion of this page protector. So screenshot of podcasts I was listening to and playlists that I was listening to. A photo of me on my walk, again, sort of across the crosswalk. So I just set my tripod up. I don't care if people see me and think I'm weird. That doesn't bother me. And then today's gratitudes card was from a really old Day in the Life kit. Like, they're double-sided cards. That's how old this is. And just stamped the day of the week on there and wrote 10 things I was grateful for. More photos. I have this photo in every one of my story or Week in the Life albums. It's fun to sort of see, like, what am I carrying with me? What am I wearing? This part doesn't change much. Like, it's my front door. I have the same rug all the time, except at Christmas time. Maybe I'll take one of these at Christmas. That would be kind of fun, because then I can get my red rug. Save that for later. But yeah, it's fun to repeat photos too, just to see how things change in our lives. Photos at the hardware store. This is a great photo. This was actually today, last year, because this popped up in my time hop today. And so I sent this to my cousin / bestie and said, hey, I really miss working with you every day and having twin lunches with you. We were eating the same thing. And I just miss her a lot. And so photos like that of sort of just, again, capturing these tiny little moments that are seemingly insignificant. But I can't do this again. This is a once in a lifetime kind of thing. More just 3x4s, note to self card. This is from a one little word kit. This shot, I know lots of folks, because of their jobs and the nature of their jobs, they can't take photos at work, and that's totally, or they can't take photos of other people at work. My work environment was really low key. And so everyone, after knowing me for many, many years, we worked together for almost a decade, we're very used to, like, oh, it's Week in the Life, Steph's going to be taking a lot of pictures, and I would sort of give them the heads up and ask if they minded being in photos. So this was a team meeting that we were having, and I set my phone up on the edge of a bookshelf that was here, up high, and just used my watch to trigger it and take this photo of all of us working together, this is not our lives anymore. So I'm grateful to have those memories. I think this is Wednesday. Yeah. His and hers. So my desk and my husband's desk. Journaling about those. Thursdays, full 6x8, a photo of us all snuggled in bed together. I usually do Thankful Thursday for Week in the Life. So Thursdays, story lens is I'm thankful. Photo of me getting ready. I have a dresser over here in our kitchen that I use for storage and just set my phone up there to take a picture of myself. Taking a picture of we went to visit my husband's cousin in the hospital, and so staying a little bit further back rather than being really close to them walking down the hallway. I know exactly where this is and the context. Like as soon as I see this picture, I know the context of what was happening, because I've given myself more of the environment versus just focusing on the two of them. Self timer again for the pictures where we're all included or it's just me. This is a great one. Ask other people to take your photo. That's another great tip. So I asked my husband, we were walking into work and I said, hey, can you go across the street and take a photo of me and I'll take one of you. I didn't end up using the one of him, but I loved this photo and this was like a newly renovated building. And so having that was fun. And then I took one of him entering our work building. Making the dogs breakfast. Another flip up of outfits of the day. I told you my husband took one every day. And then our his and hers for the day were our shoes. So I was inspired by Ingen, and I'll link to her below so you can check her out. She had her daughter's shoes all lined up like this, and I thought that was cute. And so our shoes are pretty similar. You know, we've both got Birkenstocks. I've got many pair of Birkenstocks, and our Chaco sandals. And so that's just fun. And then journaling about that. Friday, my husband had a doctor's appointment, so just capturing that while I was there with them, and Ruby working, doing a good job. My Friday story lens is was real life is, so it's real life is sleeping in this morning. Real life is making scrambled eggs for breakfast. Real life is listening to our full Tom Petty catalog on shuffle. So good stuff. Us in the Jeep, going out to dinner. Embracing imperfection. One of the things that I wrote about in here is that real life is that half our kitchen counter is a mess. That our game room / dining room table still has a game out from Monday that we've intended to play most evenings this week. And so then I just figured, oh, I'll take a picture of that. And so I took a picture of the mess. You know, usually we're not taking photos of our messes, but just embrace it. This is normal life. Everybody has messes. Lean in. Our Friday details. I may type these this year. Not sure. I don't know if I said that already. Photo of the dog greeting my husband at the top of the stairs when he came home from his doctor's appointment, another doctor's appointment. Our eat card for the day. My husband having lunch with his grandmother. The pup in the car window. Taking this photo from the front of our house out into the street. Self timer of all of us sleeping. Another of those phone pages included. This is our Life 360 app that we use to keep track of each other on our phones. And then a text message screenshot from a friend of ours who was going through boot camp. A 3x8 insert about my gratitude for that day, which was all this brouhaha to get my dog's nails trimmed, which we don't do ourselves anymore because she hates it. A screenshot or photo of us in bed. Today's story was about our preferences for ice cream when we go to Dairy Queen. Saturday, setting my phone on the tripod up on the sidewalk and just sort of walking past it a couple times and taking a few shots. Saturday's story lens was celebrating. So each of these begins with what we're celebrating or looking for things to celebrate. That's also, it kind of works both ways. It's reflective and proactive. Like it makes me look for things that I'm grateful for or things that I want to celebrate in our lives in this moment in time. And then it also makes me reflect on the things that I'm grateful for or looking for, want to remember. Riding in the car with my parents. We went to my nephew's baptism together. My husband met us later, and so I rode with them. A rare opportunity during Week in the Life to have my whole family together. So this is 1 year where we've included the whole family in a photo. We got McDonald's for breakfast as a treat, because who doesn't love some hotcakes? Little insert about how our dog loves to dry her own paws when it's raining outside. She does not like to be wet. Insert gratitude about my nephew and my nieces. Just how special the kiddos are to us, since we don't have any of our own. These are our babies we get to spoil and send back to their parents. Saturdays, his and hers were our phone screens. And so just talking about which phone we currently have and our backgrounds and how we organize it and how different that approach is. Full-size yoga photo, that's fun. Sunday's journaling, or story lens, was through the lens I see. So things that I'm seeing. It went over a little bit, and so then I just included a big photo of the two of them. Lunch with my mom for Mother's Day, and a little bit about that. Visiting the grandparents. Actually sharing a scrapbook album that I had been working on with them, which was so fun. Here I've got a horizontal 3x8 photo of us watching TV, and I like that because I can sort of capture what we are watching on TV, versus if I did this the other way, I would only get one side or the other. This is a photo inspired by Allie that she had of her and her husband, and we had gotten these new hats at REI a couple of weeks before this, and so it just felt like a fun time to document that. Standing in our yard, looking toward our house as they enter the house, so the opposite of the day before. Here's a 3x6 shot of into our fridge and freezer and into our pantry. So these are, again, our details that are never the same. Our favorite pizza for lunch, our gratitude for that day. And then what I did for Sunday's journaling was to sort of wrap it up. I took a photo of each of us throughout the week, and then I wrote about my husband and he wrote about me, and just sort of generally he and she. This is a digital layered template from Allie with the "this happened" on there, and so just 2 more photos from Sunday, and then rounding it off with a photo of us climbing into bed, which mirrors one of the photos from the beginning of the album, or the middle of the album, and sort of closes out the week. So I am getting so excited. Week in the Life is definitely my favorite project, if you haven't heard me say that before, from throughout the whole year. So I am jazzed that the documenting week is happening on Monday, and I'll be taking part in Allie's prep day tomorrow, which is Saturday, and I'm just super excited, and I hope you're joining in. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and thanks so much for watching.